Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the number one podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. I'm your host, Steve from Acres of Timber. Each week, we feature various wood business owners and entrepreneurs from around the globe. We share their stories, paths, insights so that you can network, learn, and grow your own wood business. Thank you so much for listening. Now enjoy the episode. The Woodpreneur podcast is proudly sponsored by Acres CRM. Acres CRM is the wood industry's only customer relationship management software dedicated to helping you automate your sales and marketing so that you can focus on serving your customers and growing your business. You can visit acresoftimber.com to learn more and to schedule a demo. Once again, that's acresoftimber.com. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Steve. Today's guest is Cagen Chaney from Coach's Custom Woodwork. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Before we just hopped on, I was just telling you, I was like, are you home? And Cagen was like, yes, I'm home. And one of the reasons why Cagen's on is because I think Cagen is, I know that there's 4 this year. I forgot what number. I think you might have been 2 or 3 or 4 that quit their job and went full time as a woodpreneur. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man. It's been a wild ride.
And it's a very short ride too.
Yeah. It all transpired so fast. And then, next thing you know is like, oh, we're able to get out and do this. And here we are. We're doing it too.
It's September now. And we started working together in February.
That sounds right. I think it was February.
Like January, February. So let's back up a bit. Why don't you tell everybody about your business? What did you start doing? And if we'll give your socials, but Cagen is just a fun person to watch on social because Cagen is 110% himself.
110% is absolutely right.
Yeah. You are 110% yourself, and that is part of your brand. So tell everybody about your business. What's Coach Custom Woodwork?
So what we really get into, we're trying to get into like high-end table builds and dining sets, and I'm still relatively custom just for the time being, but we're getting into it. And how it all started, we moved into this house and we bought this house. It's an older house. It's about 100 years old. And we started remodeling it. And my wife was wanting a dining table. She's like, well, can you make a dining table? I was like, probably. I don't know. And then I made this dining table and I was like, hey, this table's pretty nice. You can try to sell it. And so we threw it up on Marketplace. It didn't sell, but I got like 6 orders from it. And it was like, oh my goodness. So people want things. All right. So that's cool. And so we rolled.
What was your background? Did you have woodworking experience?
So my dad's actually, and my grandfather, both of them, they do a lot of woodworking. I mean, that's where it kind of started. Now, I didn't do a whole lot as a child. My dad, he remodeled, our house, and then he put on a bunch of stuff in the house. He enclosed the whole garage and he did a bunch of stuff. And my granddad, he made me an entire bed set that looked like a truck, like an 18-wheeler. And It was pretty sweet. I still got it. And so that's where that kind of happened. And I took like a wood shop class in high school. And then I was always kind of into it in college. I made my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, like a kitchen island thing. And I did all that with like one of those miter boxes, it's not an actual saw. I mean, it's just a hand saw and a corded drill. That's how we made that the entire thing. And it took a while because it's made out of maple and cedar, I think. If I remember, it's sitting right around here on the corner. I keep looking. I can't remember what it's made out of, but I'm pretty sure it's maple and cedar. It's maple. I don't know what the base is. But that's where it all really started. And then it just kind of took off from there. It bloomed and it grew. And we were coaching and teaching. And I was trying to do this on the side. And I was working like 65, 70 hours a week coaching and trying to do this in
like coaching football and track, right?
Football and track,
but you come from a long line of coaches. Like that's your thing, right? Like your family heritage, right? Teachers and coaches, right?
Right. Everyone but my grandfather. Everyone else is coaches and teachers, and they've all been really successful in the business. You know, like my grandfather's won several state championships. My dad's played for a few. My uncle's been a part of several, and you know, they've all been wildly successful at it.
That's cool. Cool. And so you threw this stuff on Marketplace, and then what happened after that?
Man, orders just started rolling in. So I was like, and it was things I had, like, I had like a miter saw, and I had to, like, outside of that, I had to go buy all these tools. I'm like, yeah, I'll do this. I'll give it a go. And then, like, it was like one of those dog kennel entertainment center things. Like, I got one of those, and I got another one of those, and then I got like another table build, and then someone asked for chairs, and I was like, oh, I don't know about chairs, but yeah, why not? we'll give it a go. And you know, those have slowly gotten better. The chairs,
I'm making them. But when we first started talking, you were doing a lot of custom, right? Like a custom built-ins, custom built-ins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what the advice that I gave you?
Don't do it.
Yeah, forget that, right? And what well, I guess at what point did you realize that you needed help and mentorship?
When I was just having a hard time of getting, you know, like, how do I do the business with this, you know, as a side hustle, and be able to market myself and get my name out there, you know, just the branding part of it. How do I brand myself and set myself up for success without, you know, running myself into the ground? Yeah. You know? So that was like in February, because I was like, well, I don't really want to coach and teach. And I've been trying to figure out, like, what do I do? And you know, and then I started getting orders on this, and we were rolling, and I had a bunch of stuff going on. I was like, well, let's do this. Like, I can do this. Like, I like this. And I was like, well, if we're going to do this, I need help, because that's what you always say on your podcast. We can't do this alone. Yeah. So that's where I got, it's like, well, let's reach out to Steve. So,
you know what I liked when we first met? You're like, what was the thing about, like, how did you got monetized on Facebook? Like, what? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I was out in the garage one night working late, and I was listening to you, and I can't remember who was on the podcast, but you were talking about, well, you know, reels are really hot right now. Like, you need to start pushing reels. Reels are getting pushed on social media. And I was like, sweet, I can make a reel, whatever. And so, like, I make a couple reels, and then like 6 or 7 reels later, 1 or 2 blow up. And then like Facebook's like, hey, do you want money for these? I was like, yeah, I want money for these. And so, and that's how that rolled. And then I was monetized. I don't know, Facebook's gotten weird ever since they went through, or they've gotten through, as far as like giving you money. But like right now, like, our reels on Instagram and Facebook are doing really well. TikTok, so cool. Not so much, but
not so much. Yeah.
TikTok's tough.
You have, I mean, you talk about your brand. You have like this very, when I say like 110% yourself, like you are just yourself. It's not like you're trying to like make things perfect in the background. You know what I mean? Like, and there's like this realness. Does that come across to your clients at all?
You know, Steve, I don't know, because I've never actually thought about realness in the background. I've never thought about any of my videos being like that, because it's like, this is just where I'm at. Like, this is it. Like, I can't put on a background for you. Like, that's a lot of work if I do. And it's like, no, it's not worth it. And plus, like, I'm not working in like this high-end nice place. I'm working in a 2-car garage that's at least 3 times older than I am.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, so if it does come across to him, I don't know. No one's ever told me anything.
No one's ever told you. But you are getting business from being yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's so awesome.
It's gotten better, because I've let my wife, like, now, you know, my wife's in on it. And so she's really running like all our marketing stuff. And so I'll send her videos, and I'm like, hey, I just need you to edit these and post these. And honestly, I don't really care what you do with them. Like, it's cool, because she's really, out of the 2 of us, like, I'm pretty funny, but she's hilarious. And so she's been making all our
love right there. That's love.
Yeah. And then she's been making all these reels, and she's been doing voiceovers, and she has no idea what's going on out there. And it's absolutely hilarious. She just starts just making stuff up, and it's funny. And like, those reels have been blowing up, and it's like, man, you're killing this. We should have done this forever ago.
when you posted online that your wife was helping out, and I posted, I was like, that's when things are going to take off, when you have your literal life partner that's down for your business and is treating it like it's their business too, right? Like that is when, you know, you're totally going to blow up. So, okay. So you reached out to me, and what was the first thing that we did? You remember?
First thing we did, we hopped on a Zoom call and just talked about how, like, where do we go from here? Like, how do we fit this into your, you know, your program? And that phone call, I remember I was sitting in my classroom in the dark.
I remember that. Yeah. Were you like pretending to not be there so a student wouldn't walk in?
Yeah, so nobody would walk in. Yeah. Kept the door shut, lights are off, don't come in.
Yeah. So we worked on a marketing plan. And what was this sort of takeaway from the marketing plan?
Man, the marketing plan was, man, you got to be a little bit more niche. You know, you got to find your niche, and you got to be able to, you know, bring not more to the table, but you got to be able to focus on tables and brand yourself that way. Because, you know, the issue was, is it's like, I can do a bunch of stuff, but like none of that stuff, like the problem was like turnaround time. And then like, I still kind of struggle with some turnaround time, but
well, you had an immense amount of back orders for custom stuff.
Yes.
And that was weighing on you, and the stress level was being high because you really didn't even want to commit to doing those things, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. There's some of those things I was like, I need to do these, but it's like, I don't want to do these. Like what I really do not like building, I do not like building cabinets. I do not. Of course,
yeah, that's the worst.
It's the worst. But then there's like all these guys like, I love cabinetry. And I was like, well, yeah, you're just building a square. Like it's not that hard, but it's like, I hate doing it. Like it's not fun. It's not intricate. And like, that's why I really got into love. Like, you know, I bought that bandsaw over the summer. Yeah. And man, it's been freaking sweet because I've been able to do so many different things. As far as like, you know, getting some curves and some different things on these legs and just getting intricate.
Yeah. So the marketing plan was like, lean in on coaching, like your coach brand. I remember the other one was redesign your logo.
Yep.
And then focus on tables. And then just pump out more content. Like, I think that was basically it. And no lie for the listeners, success is rewarded when you take action. Like within like a day or so, like you redesigned your logo. Remember, you didn't overthink it. Yeah. Right. Like, and what happened after that? Because I remember it was like shortly thereafter, like that first month, like it
was like within a week, I had like, I think it was like 3 table orders, like
that's
back to back.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay, so this does work. That's cool.
You started raising your prices, right?
I raised my prices. Yeah, I raised my prices quite a bit. I'm still looking for that price point right now. Like I went straight line pricing, and it's been really good. And then it's still pretty good for the most part. It's just, you know, we're kind of going in this recession. So things have slowed down, you know, immensely, but we're getting into September, and then, you know, school just started. So hopefully here pretty quick, things pick back up.
Yeah. Summer's notoriously slow.
Tough.
Plus, you know, the other thing too is like people were cooped up in their house for 2 years, and this is the first summer where they can go on vacation. So people were spending all the money that they would have spent on their house on things outside the house.
Right.
They were living life, being normal, right? So, cool. And then what was do you remember there was I think you were, so part of the mentorship is like somebody asks a question and I go out and I create it. And so Cagan was like, hey, what do I do about a portfolio? Right. And so we created, so you ended up creating a portfolio, right?
Well, so like I had a couple of interior designers ask for one.
That's right.
Like, okay. And then you showed us on Shutterfly, right? And
yeah.
I put one together, but I never actually like got one out.
Okay.
I never went all the way through because they're just like, because like the vibe I got from these interior designers, the 2 that asked for it, it was just like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Just send me your portfolio, whatever. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time on that. Like that seems like you're just like, nah, whatever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing too was focusing on interior design. So what happened with the interior designers?
Dude, so I've gotten so a lot of them. So what's really transpired with interior designers, a lot of them followed me back. And
Yeah.
like a lot of them asked me to do like different things, like, but they've all like just things that weren't in my realm and things that, yeah, I was like, I don't think that's not sketchy. I just don't want to go to somebody else's house and do it. You know what I mean? Like I've had that.
Oh,
Those,
like build it in somebody's house.
yeah, like they were wanting some different things. I was like, why don't you like call a general contractor like that?
Yeah.
This doesn't seem like a me job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, I've had that happen, and then I've had a couple orders. It was all been wild. Like the past month has been nuts, but I've had a couple orders from interior designers, but they both the two I had both fell through. Like I had this one for a long time, and he's like, okay, well the client is cool with the price. Well, let me, let's do all this stuff, and we did all this stuff, and we settled on what we were gonna do, what we wanted, and then like it came time, to build, and he's like, dude, my client has gone MIA. I have not heard from her in 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, okay. So you're in a bond.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and he's like, I'll let you know in 2 weeks. And then I had never heard from him. I was like, oh, dang, that sucks, dude.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
So what has been your main source? Has it been this organic personal branding? Because you did start using the organic personal branding
Mhm.
method on Facebook, right? And that's been going well.
That's all it's been, man. It's the only way
Yeah.
we've been growing. And we've been growing a lot. We're starting to grow on Instagram. We're starting to
Yeah.
grow more on Instagram and Facebook. We've grown quite a bit on Facebook just within the past couple months. Really, we grew
Mhm.
a lot on Facebook after I let my wife kind of start doing all the real, like, because she started posting like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I think we grew like 500 followers within like a 3 week span on Facebook, and Facebook can be kind of hard sometimes just because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
reels aren't super popular on Facebook, and
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and you ended up getting some press too, right? Talk about that.
so what was it? It's the Houston Voyage reached out, and they're looking for entrepreneurs in the area, and they just want to do a special on the business. They're just like, what do you do? Let's help you get some clientele, and like this is really interesting. And so we did it to it, and it came out beginning of July, I think, middle of July, I think is when it was published. So it was pretty cool. They just sent me an email, and we answered all these questions. I talked on the phone once, and that was really, it wasn't
And they
super,
sent a photographer out, right?
so actually my best friend, he came out and he took pictures.
Okay.
He's a
Okay.
photographer. He does it on the side. He's actually taken all of our family photos. And
Okay.
so I was like, hey man, why don't you I need some pictures, dude. And actually, so I'm about to finish this project, and I have a table build for him, the next one I got. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. So talk about the group mentoring program. What was that experience like, being in the group of people, and what you got out of it?
man, it's awesome. Like we networked so well. And I remember the first time, like the very first time, like I kind of got in, and like it wasn't very many of us, like when we got in, because like it was like the old group had gotten out, because like we were like the second group that
Yeah.
you were working on, and so it was like Matt Ives, Danielle, and like Matt Holland. Like it was
Yeah.
just us four in there for like a short time. But I just remembered like it was just like kind of weird at first, because like Matt Holland's like, hey man, what's up? How are you?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I wasn't really ready for this energy. All right. Just so many questions were being asked and so many questions were being answered. It was awesome. But like it was great networking, because like I talk to Matt Ives all the time. Me and Matt Ives go back and forth. Matt Holland too. Amir, Amir,
Yeah.
not to love.
Yeah.
And then it's like I met Justin and Olga through this. And
Yeah.
Justin
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
hours away.
Neighbors now. Yeah. Yeah.
Basically. And so we've been working together. I mean, they came down here and they sawed up some logs, and we're going to split that profit once they all get dry, which by the way, it was a beautiful log that we were cutting.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of hopeful future adventures
with them.
Now, yeah, hopefully some things have fallen through, but just because, you know, people pulled out of the recession, but there's still like, there's so much potential there. And it's going to be a pretty good thing once we can
That's
finally.
so cool that you guys are, were you like an hour from each other?
Oh, really? We're actually kind of far. I think it's 2 hours.
2 hours. Okay.
5 minutes to their house.
Yeah. Why should people join the mentorship program?
Well, if you're looking to grow and you're not really sure how to grow and like you're needing business, like this has been the greatest, you know, this has been just so many ideas and so many, like you can get so many questions answered. Things like it makes you not feel like you're doing this alone, because doing this alone is so hard because you don't know, you know, yeah, you can Google anything, but you know, you're not going to get an exact answer on Google. You have to feed it all through. Where here, you're going to have a collective of like 18 people who you can bounce ideas off of, and you can ask like, well, did this work for you? Why this, you know, why? And then, you know, there's just so many, you know, because like there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. Well, you at least have people who've probably skinned a couple cats at some point. So it's been really good. So if you're looking to grow, that would be looking to grow, looking to network, you know, looking to build yourself and brand yourself. You need help with that. That's where you need to be, is here.
Yeah. And what's it like being coached by me?
Man, it's pretty fun. I mean, it's just like this. It's just conversation, you know, and it's a really good, you know, it's a friendly environment. It's a good environment. It's fun. It's helpful, you know, so do it.
Dude, I remember when you told me within the first month how much you brought in. I was like, dude, did you just realize that your side hustle brought in just as much as your day job?
Yeah.
And you were like, wow, that's wild. Like that realization. And then you do that for a couple months and you start to feel confident. Like, can you talk about that confidence that you needed? Like, what was the thing that you needed to do or put in place for you to quit your job?
Well, you had to have money. It had to have a consistent run of money. But dude, it was an awesome feeling. So like, I think that happened in March. I think it was March we were close to being over what I brought in from school. And then April we surpassed it. And then May we surpassed it. And then we didn't surpass it in July or in June because I took too long on a build. And then this month, like, I guess we're in September. Golly, my months are so bad right now. Being home, not being at school throws me. But just being able to, it's like, oh, I can do this by myself. It's like, wow, like you can do this. And it's so empowering, you know, and it just builds so much confidence. It's not like you're on top of the world, but it's like it's just a great feeling knowing that it's like, okay, so I can do this. And it's not as far out of reach as it feels like, or as it felt like, because it all turned over so fast and it was all consistent, you know? So it's like, sweet, dude, like we can do this. And so that's where we were like, all right, well, see ya. We're going to do it.
Well, I mean, and you, you know, it's funny too, because when you first joined, I positioned this as a year long, but people don't need a year. They needed 6 months to get everything. And I mean, now the program is 6 months, but I was like, wow. Like you said, when you got the email and you're like, hey, I think it's time. And I'm like, oh my God, you did it. You did it. Like you did it. Like you, like the goal that you said, you're like, I want to quit my job and I want to do this full time. Like you freaking did it, man. I'm so proud of you, dude.
Dude, I appreciate it. And man, like a lot of it's been because of you. You've just been able to help. You've been able to answer questions. And the most important thing, lead us down the right path where we need to be able to succeed. You know, and that's been the best thing. Is just,
dude, you bought a truck, right? Like
a truck.
You got the bandsaw, like you're tooling up, like, and now you have the skills and the confidence and the network and the marketing. Like, I mean, I'm totally not taking all, but like you yourself as a personality learned to be yourself online. So all you needed was some fine tuning. You're like, oh wait, I could talk about business and be myself at the same time. Like, let's go, right?
Easy. I can do that.
Yeah. Dude, that's so great. And what's your family think about all this? Like your extended family?
Dude, they're pretty proud. Like it's
Yeah.
awesome. You know, my dad said something that he's like, man, you're doing something, you know, I couldn't find the guts to do. He's like, that's awesome. So
Bro, you made your dad proud.
yeah, man. Yeah.
Ah, wow, man. Dude, so what's next?
What's next? So really what's really next is that we're just trying to figure out which way to jump right now because we're going this recession and we're still good. It's just I think we're getting to the point that like we're still trying to become more regional, you know, like we're still not like we're still rather local. Like we've branched out some of these areas, but it's just getting into like, you know, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, and growing into the metropolitan areas. And we're thinking about, you know, moving somewhere that way and just basically not necessarily restarting, but restarting in a different clientele setting. Because I mean, that's the first thing you said. Like when we first got on that first meeting, he's like, "Oh, you're in Crockett, so you're in the middle of nowhere." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I'm between these cities. Like, you know, I'm not like in the middle of nowhere." And then like the longer I get into this, it's like, no, this is like being in the middle of nowhere, just because like there's just not a whole lot of people.
Your pool is. Let me tell you. So I'll tell you one thing is, sometimes you need to chase opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you have the skills, your skills are transferable wherever you go.
Absolutely.
And oftentimes people get tied to because they grew up in a place, because of this or family or whatever, and they make all these reasons why they can't. And sometimes, like, if you need to move, you need to move.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah. You'll make money regardless. Like, I mean, I have clients that, they move to one state, but they're still making money from the original state. Right. Yeah. Like, there's another guy who I got to get on from Chef to Table. I mean, he's from New York, New Jersey, but he moved to Chicago, and a very, very small percentage of his clients are in Chicago. He ships all over. So it doesn't even matter. So if you want confidence, like have no confidence and know the fact that like, yeah, I think you'd succeed anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. And, it's like, that's the cool thing about, social media is that like, yeah, like I live in Crockett, but I have all this clientele that's all around here. Well, it's not like when I leave, that clientele is not going to be on my Facebook anymore. It's not going to be on
absolutely.
That's still there. Like it's not like
absolutely.
They're leaving.
Absolutely. So. Hey, dude. So let me help you with one thing. What's one thing that I can help you out with today?
Oh man, one thing today, Steve. I thought about this question this morning when I was driving my kids to work, Jesus.
To school.
Yeah, to school. And it crossed my head. I was like, oh, I know Steve's gonna ask this question. What do I need to do? And then that's as far as it got.
What's one thing troubling you right now?
Troubling right now.
Keeping you up at night.
Keeping me up at night. Man, a lot of things keep me up at night. Dude, honestly, just getting, because like I told you earlier, like things are starting to get a little scary. Like we're still good. It's just like things are just slowed down, and it's our first, like this is our first rodeo into this.
Yeah.
And like people go through it all the time. Like I'm an independent business owner. So like people do this all the time. And it's just like where like it's just getting scary is all it's starting to get. Just because like people aren't buying $5,000 tables like they were 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And then it's summer. It's slow, and then I'm just in a small area, so
yeah. So this is so for one is I'll give you access to my recession workshop that I just did, and then two, focus on what you can control, right? Like I'm learning more and more and more, and this, a lot of experts say that, like, listen, if you're under $1 million a year, 80%, I said that right, 80% of your time should be spent on marketing and sales.
That's fair.
Right? Yeah. Until you can really hone in on a product. So for me, I'm like, make a list of, interior designers, make a list of contractors, make a list of realtors, make a list, like anybody that could be a referring partner to you. Right? I would contact luxury realtors,
Yeah.
people that get, a few $100,000 commissions,
Mhm.
and be like, hey, how'd you like to buy your client a, $5,000 or $10,000 table if they buy with you? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if they sell through you, right? Like those types of things. Think of things that you can control. So you can control how many leads you get per day, right? How many touches, how much content that you put out, how many. So it's really all about developing that name. I mean, now that you don't have the job, right? Like finish up that portfolio, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe one day take a trip to Houston and like go early in the morning and set up 5 different appointments with architects and designers, and say, hey, do you have 15-20 minutes, because I'd love to show you my work. Like just spend one day just doing that, because the face-to-face is going to be key, right?
Right.
I would contact old clients and get testimonials. Hop on a Zoom call like this and record them saying, hey, can you, sit at the table? Can you tell me about the process of getting this table and why people should work with me? You know what I mean? Like just focus on the things that build your business. And it's outreach on leads, creating content, forming referring partnerships, and then just like putting your name and getting your name out there. Like make sure that when people think of your part of the world, like just start, they think of you and tables. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and I know that you got the new website up. Like build up your mailing list, send out a mailer, right? Like that's what I would focus on. Focus on things that you can control. Like this kind of stuff is scary. And I've seen many first-time entrepreneurs like, back down, and then they get scared and then they go get a job.
Yeah.
Right. But now is like, this is where the true stuff happens, and focus on sales and marketing is going to be key. You got this. And you know me, so you're good.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, and I secretly want you to get to 30 to 50K a month, so that I can help you get to 100K a month. So.
Yeah, dude, me too. That'd be pretty sweet. Yeah, maybe in a couple of years we can be at that.
Yeah. And then we look to scale, Coach Custom and Coach,
right.
The Coach Table, right? So
yeah, Coach's Table, baby.
Good. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for entrusting me with mentorship in your business. And like I said, I'm super proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, dude.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Woodpreneur podcast, the #1 podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star rating and review. You can also tap into our community by visiting woodpreneurlife.com. Once again, that's woodpreneurlife.com.